Now, more breaking news tonight. Look at this. FBI Director Patel, Deputy Director Dan Bongino announcing that former special counsel Jack Smith was surveilling the cell phones of several senior Republican senators. This apparently part of his investigation into, quote, the events of January 6, 2021, operating under the codename Arctic Frost. Now, FBI agents were able to see who every senator called, where the call was placed from, where the person they were calling was located. Wow. Did they do it with any type of warrant? Here with the full report on this story is justthenews.com founder, editor-in-chief, chief investigative reporter John Solomon. My understanding you might have other breaking news tonight as well.
Yeah, well, let's start with what we know. So the reason that the FBI got these phone records and can conduct this analysis is that Jack Smith got a grand jury subpoena for them, and then the FBI takes him and then analyzes it and sends it back to Jack Smith. Arctic Frost is starting to look like an enemies list investigation. The FBI in 2022 opens up this investigation. This is from the great work of Senator Grassley and Kash Patel getting these records to the American public. They open up and say, let's look at everybody that was contesting the 2020 election as part of a grand conspiracy. The FBI gets at the Jack Smith. Jack Smith goes and gets the grand jury subpoenas. The grand jury subpoenas bring the phone records in, and before you know it, the FBI is starting to snoop at every phone call that 8 senators and 1 House member made, all of them Republicans. It's a really troubling, I think, diagram of how the deep state was working under Joe Biden. The FBI, the DOJ, working hand in glove to spy, pry into the lives, the conversations, and the data of Republicans. Arctic Frost now has an extraordinary toll. I think one of the largest tolls I've ever seen in an investigation. 92 groups, including Charlie Kirk's group. 2 president and a vice president had their phones taken, turned over by Joe Biden to Jack Smith, and now 8 senators and 1 House member. One of the largest dragnets in search of a crime. Doesn't appear they found it, but they were certainly looking for a crime on all these different people. It looks like a dragnet, an enemies list. A lot of people I'm talking to in the FBI deeply concerned about it now, but also seem to know about it in 23 and 24, telling me we kind of had a bad feeling this was a bad thing going on.
How soon do you think we'll know whether or not, do you know the jurisdiction, for example, where they had the grand jury?
I don't. I assume it's going to be in D.C. because that's where most of the January 6th investigation was conducted. And, of course, Congress was there. The period of time that Smith and the FBI is looking at is a time when Congress is in session doing work protected by the Constitution. They were certifying the 2020 election. So there's a very serious separation of powers issue here. Why did the executive branch take this thing? What did they tell the grand jurors? What was the predicate? Did they really have any crimes, or were they fishing, and were they intruding on a constitutionally protected event? And I think those are things that we're going to learn more from in the next coming days from Kash Patel. Probably tomorrow with Pam Bondi on Capitol Hill, we may learn a little bit as well.
All right, we appreciate that, John Solomon, justthenews.com. We'll also have FBI Director Kash Patel on this show tomorrow night.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.